Our headlines for you today. Fresh safety warnings after a woman and 2 young children were killed in a fire thought to have been caused by a charging electric bike.
If they get too hot, they can explode and cause a really intense fire, and I think that's what we've seen here.
An investigation into a fire in which a mother and 2 children lost their lives in Cambridge on Friday has concluded that it was probably caused by an e-bike which was being charged at their home. The fire service is now urging people to avoid charging e-bike or e-scooter batteries overnight.
Good morning. Finding a home to rent is tough enough, but even harder if you have children or pets. New BBC research finds thousands of adverts say that they're not welcome. I'll find out what your rights are.
Good morning from Wimbledon, where Andy Murray, the 2-time champion, begins his tournament today in an all-British encounter against Ryan Peniston, whilst the reigning men's champion Novak Djokovic began his tournament with an impressive victory as he chases an 8th Wimbledon title.
Making sure our servicemen and women aren't forgotten, we meet the Army veteran who travels the country restoring war graves.
The Lord Chancellor has asked the Parole Board to reconsider its decision to allow the double child killer Colin Pitchfork to be released from prison. He was jailed for life for raping and murdering 2 15-year-old girls, Dawn Ashworth and Linda Mann, in the 1980s. He was recommended for parole earlier this year, but friends of the families of his victims said it was like putting them through torture over and over again. King Charles has arrived in Scotland in preparation for being presented with Scotland's crown jewels. He received the keys to the city of Edinburgh and was presented a new ceremonial sword, the Elizabeth sword.
Thames Water will appear in court for sentencing today after admitting charges relating to polluting rivers. The court earlier heard how millions of litres of undiluted sewage cause rivers to turn black and kill more than 1,000 fish near Gatwick Airport in October 2017. The Facebook owner Meta says it'll be launching its own app to rival Twitter this week. Threads is a text-based conversation app that will go live on Thursday, according to the company, and it will be linked to Instagram. Plans for the Orkney Islands to change their status within the UK or even become a self-governing territory of Norway are set to be debated by councillors today. A motion will go before the council authority to investigate alternative forms of governance. The Prime Minister's spokesperson rejected a suggestion that the islands could loosen their ties with the Union. Now, next month, the congestion charging zone in central London will be expanded across the whole capital as part of the Mayor's flagship clean air policy. It is a controversial move which is being challenged by 5 of London's borough councils today in the High Court.
Look at this morning's papers, shall we? And lots of them focusing on the high cost of living in the UK, particularly that story we've mentioned. Accusations that supermarkets have been charging drivers 6p more for a litre of fuel than they should have been. The Mirror's headline there is that in total, that means motorists would charge an extra £900 million on the forecourts last year.
The Times says that drivers could soon be able to swerve rip-off retailers by using an online petrol price checker to compare prices. The paper says that the government has agreed with a recommendation for a fuel finder scheme.
Another financial story this morning. The Financial Times reporting that the chief executives of HSBC, NatWest, Lloyds and Barclays have been summoned by the watchdog to address concerns that saving rates are lagging behind the surging cost of mortgages. Lots of you have been telling us this as well. The paper saying that they're facing accusations, these banks, of profiteering from rising interest rates.
And the Eye says 67% of the British public want a cap on supermarket prices to help during the cost of living crisis. The paper also claims that its poll suggests the public supports Rishi Sunak's plan to cut inflation rather than taxes.
Inside,
yes,
there is a story here in the Times. Have you seen this? That Ant and Dec are bringing back Biker Grove.
No.
Look at that. Yeah, there they are, back in their heyday.
There they are as children.
Well, 20 years ago or
wow.
so. Biker Grove ran on the BBC, on CBBC, set in the northeast. It was a sort of school-based drama, wasn't it? Like a sort of...
Had a bit of everything, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like a sort of northeast version of Grange Hill kind of thing. But,
yeah,
they're bringing it back.
It tackled some serious issues, but it was also quite funny at times
was.
and uplifting.
And it launched their careers, didn't it?
It certainly did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently they're involved in a new studio that's being built in Sunderland at a cost of millions of pounds, which it might be used, which could potentially create 8,000 jobs, not just on Biker Grove, but on other stuff as well.
That's a big
and
show.
there even a suggestion here that PJ and Duncan themselves, Ant and Dec's characters, might return to the new show.
I wonder if they'll be singing.
Let's get ready to rumble.
I've got one here for you, John. This is in the Mirror today. Not well educated. Apparently,
Oh, thanks.
62% of Britons are clueless about how our properties work, with plumbing causing the most confusion, saying that we're not very good at DIY. I say this is for you because I know you're good. You do a bit of DIY, don't you? You're quite good around the house.
There are two different things there. I do it.
You do?
I am not good at it.
But you do have a go, don't you?
Yeah, have a go.
It says here, most Britain's brains are not wired to DIY tasks at home. 58% of the nation have had to live without hot water for a weekend when their boiler stopped. I'm not surprised by that. I
But
wouldn't
it's
know how
also
to fix a boiler.
finding people, tradespeople who know
So
what they're doing,
busy.
who will come out, is so hard at the moment. We're kind of
Yeah.
forced to do it ourselves,
Yeah.
even if we can't.
I think you're better at it than you're letting on.
No, I'm
You
not.
do painting and decorating, don't you?
I do that.
Yeah.
But you can't
That's a lot more
destroy
than
your
me.
house doing that. I could destroy my house trying to repair the boiler, I think. God.